balik po tayo sa ating lungga dito sa Malacañang para sa ating regular press briefing. Matapos po tayo magkaroon ng presidential press briefing sa operations sa headquarters po ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council sa Camp Aguinaldo. Ayon sa report ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, merong 17 tao na po ang namatay dahil sa bagyong Roque. Bagaman ang target natin ay zero casualty, nagpapasalamat pa rin po tayo sa lahat ng mga nasa pamahalaan na nagtrabaho kahit long weekend dahil sa undas para maiwasan ang aberya at disgrasya dala ng panganib ng pinakamalakas na bagyo sa buong mundo ngayong taon. Nakatutok ang ating presidente sa mga nangyayari at satisfied siya dahil sa kahandaan ng lahat ng nasa gobyerno at kooperasyon ng ating mga mamamayan. Bago po tumama ang bagyo sa Pilipinas, mayroon ng stockpiles at standby funds ang DSWD na 884 million sa kanilang central at field offices. Kasama na ang mahigit 260,000 family food packs na naka-preposition sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. As of November 3, 6 a.m., mahigit 6.6 million na assistance na po ang napamigay ng DSWD. Mayroong 269,507 na katao sa 2,671 evacuation centers. Inactivate naman po ng hukbong santatahan ng Pilipinas ang kanilang Disaster Task Force noong 30 na Oktubre na may 155 officers at 3,013 enlisted personnel ready for deployment. Sila ang tumulong sa evacuation ng mahigit 300,000 individual sa 1,558 barangays noong tumama ang bagyo. Sa hanay naman po ng ating kapulisan, as of November 3, umabot ng 5,804 ang na-deploy sa search and rescue personnel at 1,556 PNP personnel naman ang nasa evacuation areas. Kaya naman napanatili ang kaayusan sa gitna ng hagupit ni Roque. Maraming salamat po sa ating kapulisan at kasundaluhan. Bago dumating si Roque ay nakapag-mobilize na po ang DPWH ng 4,931 personnel at 1,295 equipment. Kaya naman mabilis nilang naisagawa ang kanilang road cleaning operations. Mulang 15 road sections na sarado kahapon, ngayon ay 10 na lamang po. Isa sa Cordillera Region, isa sa Region 3 at 8 po sa Region 5. Bago pa mag-landfill si Roque ay pinaghandaan na po ito ng Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines or CAAP, Manila International Airport Authority, Clark International Airport Authority. Sinecure ang ating mga paliparan ng kanilang mga gamit tulad ng power plant at runway equipment, nakipag-ugnayan sa mga lokal na disaster offices at inactivate ang procedures para sa typhoon disaster response. Kaya naman ngayon ay balik normal na ang operasyon ng ating mga paliparan sa Manila, Clark, Subic, Sangli, Legazpi, Naga at Virac. At tulad ng sinabi ko kahapon, balik operasyon na po ang LRT, MRT, PNR at EDSA busway. Sa briefing namin noong linggo, una ninyong narinig na isinara ang mga ito. Dito makikita natin ang kahandaan ng buong pamahalaan at kahit nasa Davao ang presidente ay namomonitor niya ang mga ito. Kaya nga kahapon ay pinangunahan ni Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang isang situation briefing at Talk to the People address kasamang ilan sa mga miyembro ng kanyang gabinete tungkol sa Super Typhoon Roque. Ngunit bago ito ay nagkaroon ng aerial inspection ng Pangulo ng mga lugar na sinalanta ng bagyo. Binisita rin ng Pangulo ang Ginubatan Albay, isa sa matinding tinamaan ni Roque, para alamin ang kalagayan ng mga residente doon. Ito ang ilan sa mga salient points ng nasabing situation briefing at Talk to the People address kagabi. Tiniyak ni DBM Secretary Wendell Avisado na mayroong 3.622 billion na calamity funds ang pamahalaan at ang ilan sa bahagi nito ay maaaring magamit para matulungan ang mga lubhang naapektuhan ng superbagyong Roque. Inulat naman ni DNR Secretary Roque Matu na sinususpinde niya ang quarrying operation sa mga lugar sa paligid ng Bulkang Mayon. Ito ay matapos ang direktiba ni Presidente na magsagawa ng investigasyon sa quarrying operation sa mga nasabing lugar. Sinabi naman ni DOTR Secretary Arthur Tugade na nakakompleto ang konstruksyon ng Bicol International Airport bago matapos ang taon. Ayon naman kay DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez, ang mayroong price freeze sa mga lugar na nadeklarang under a state of calamity. Sa mga lugar man na walang price freeze ay meron tayong umiiral na suggested retail price. Binigyang otoridad ni Presidente si National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez na mamuno sa pagbili hanggang pamamahagi ng bakuna laban sa COVID-19. Mamaya makakasama natin ang Chief Implementer at ang bagong vaccine czar, Secretary Galvez. Siya po yung sinabi ko na ilang buwan nang nakakalipas na talaga na siyang vaccine SAR, kaya lang ayaw muna po niyang ulitin yon hanggang hindi maanunsyo uli ni Presidente. So inanunsyo na po uli ni Presidente, siya na po talaga ang vaccine STAR. Ipinag-utos din ng Pangulo ng magbigay ng cash aid sa mga manggagawa na naapektuhan ng pandemya bago magpasko. Samantala, umalis naman kaninang alas 8 ng umagang isang C-130 papuntang Catanduanes tulad ng pinangako ko kay Governor Joseph Cua nung kami ay unang magkausap. Dala-dala po ng C-130 ang tubig, pagkain at iba pang mga pangangailangan ng Catanduanes. At papasalamat po tayo sa LT Group of Company dahil nakita nyo mga pictures ng Absolute ay binigay po ng LT Group of Company. Punta naman po tayo sa ating COVID-19 update. Ito po ang global update ayon sa Johns Hopkins. Higit 46 na milyon na or 46,857,505 ang tinamaan ng COVID-19 sa buong mundo. Mayroong 1,204,274 katao naman po ang binuway ng buhay dahil sa coronavirus. Nanguna pa rin po ang Estados Unidos na may 9.2 million na kaso ng COVID-19 at 231,000 deaths. Pangalawang India na mayroong pinakamaraming kaso ng COVID-19. Meron po silang 8.2 million ngayon and 122,000 deaths. Pangatlo po ang Brazil, 5.5 million and 160,000 deaths. Ang Russia po ay pang-apat, 1.6 million, 28,000 deaths. At panglima po ang France, 1.4 million, 37,000 deaths. Dito po sa ating bayan, meron po tayong 29,301 active cases. At mula po sa kabubuong bilang ng kaso na 385,400. Ibig sabihin, ito po ay 7.6% ng aktibong kaso sa kabuuang mga kaso. Ayon sa DOH, ang pagbaba ng National Daily Average ng COVID-19 sa bansa, bumaba ito ng 25% kumpara sa mga nagdaan ng mga linggo. Sa mga aktibong kaso, 82.5% ay mild, 9.6% ay asymptomatic, 5% ay critical, 2.8% ay severe. 348,830 naman po ang nai-report na gumaling. Ito ay 90.5% mula sa kabuuang bilang ng kaso ng COVID-19 sa bansa. Samantalang nasa 7,269 po ang binubuhay ng buhay dahil sa coronavirus, nakikiramay po kami. Naka-flash naman po sa ating screen ang critical care capacity ng ating mga ospital. 57% pa po ang available sa ating ICU beds. 60% po ang available sa ating isolation beds. 66% po ang available sa ward beds. At 79% ang available po sa ventilators. Hindi naman po ibig sabihin na palibasang marami pa tayong kakayahan ay tayo po ay magpapabaya na. Ang pakiusap po ng Presidente, mask, hugas, iwas. Dito po nagtatapos ang ating briefing. Bago po tayo pumunta sa ating mga tanong, meron po tayong 3 panauhin. Unahin na po natin ang ating tinalaga muli na vaccine SAR, wala pong iba kundi si National Task Force Chief Implementer, Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. Sir, na-interview po namin dito si Ambassador Santa Romana at sabi niya anytime baka maaprubahan po ang isang bakuna ng FDA ng China. So bilang na talaga pong vaccine SAR ng ating presidente, ano po ang hakbang na gagawin natin? The moment po magkaroon na nga ng vaccine na available kung sa China o kung sa iba pang parte ng daigdig ang mauunang maapruban ng COVID-19 vaccine. The floor is yours, Secretary Galvez.
Unang-una po sa lahat, ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa ating Presidente, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, sa kanyang tiwala at naibigay niya po na napakalaking responsibilidad. Totoo lang po talagang I feel so nervous dahil alam ko po na napakalaki ng responsibilidad na inatang po sa aking balikat. At I would like also to thank Executive Secretary Salvador Elmendaldia and other cabinet members for the moral support. If you allow me, Sir Spokes, meron lang kaming preparations na mga presentation para maintindihan po natin ang ating preparation po ng Philippine National Vaccine Roadmap. Ito pong Philippine National Vaccine Roadmap sa unang pag-uusap po namin ng mga eksperto at saka po ng mga core group natin dito po sa vaccine ay talagang sinasabi po nila na talagang ito po ang talagang our road to normalcy and full economic recovery. Noong mga nagdaang araw hanggang kahit po bumabagyo, nagkaroon po kami ng mga meetings with ADB at also with World Bank. At saka po nagkukonsulta po kami sa mga ibang mga different vaccine expert o panel. At ito po ang nakita po namin na ito po yung mga key considerations in building our roadmap. Unang-una po yung safety or underlying health risk, kung anong klaseng vaccine po ang kukunin po natin. Pangalawa po yung efficacy. And then yung third, yung sensitivity. Ito po yung tinatawag natin na yung sensitivity ng isang vaccine, considering that some of the vaccines needed yung cold chain refrigeration. And then also, kinukonsider po natin yung cost at saka yung supply chain requirements dahil napaka-komplikado po ang pag-handle po ng mga vaccine. And then panglima po yung access of clinical trials and local and regional production and distribution. And then last po yung complexity ng implementation. Dahil kasi po pagka po dalawang dose po tayo, parang magre-redo po tayo. Kung titingnan po natin yung pagkaroon ng nationwide vaccination ay parang nagkaroon po tayo ng nationwide election. So kung just in case nakita natin preparation na yung election dalawa natin gagawin after 21 days ay magkakaroon na po tayo gagad ng another re-election. Meaning napaka-komplikado po ng preparation, yung execution at implementation ng vaccination po. At ito po ang major stages na initially ito po yung naisulat natin mga stages. Stage 1 is yung scientific evaluation and selection. Ito pinaka-most critical kasi kailangan po talaga yung decision point at mga option na pwede pong i-approve ng ating mahal na presidente. Pangalawa po, yung access and acquisition. Ito po yung tinatawag na yung guarantee. Katulad ng nagbe-bet po tayo na tayo po magiging priority for access for certain class of vaccine. And then napaka-komplikado rin po yung procurement process, yung production and shipment and storage, and then yung distribution and deployment. And then stage 6 yung implementation and nationwide vaccination. At all throughout the process, yung stage 7, yung assessment, evaluation, and monitoring. And then, ang gagamitin po natin, it will be in 4 phases. Nandun yung assessment phase, yung planning phase, yung preparation phase, at saka yung execution phase. Kasi po, pagka ang NTF i-implement po natin yan, 4 po na phases ang gagawin po natin. And then, ito po, magiging parang po natin na for the last quarter of 2020, continuous po ang ating assessment and evaluation and monitoring. And then kailangan po ang planning po natin ay continuous din, pero we have to finish our plan within this week or next week. And then ang preparation po natin, may mga preparation na po tayong ginagawa. And then our execution, most likely, vaccine will be available by early next year. So yun po ang tinitingnan po natin. Ito po, nagkaroon po kami ng konting notes at yung ibang mga critical activities sa phases, parang nag-push pencil na po kami. At ito po yung tinatawag natin, ito yung mga critical activities during assessment, during planning, preparation, and execution. So nandito po halos lahat at ito po ay ipipresent po natin sa mahal na presidente for his approval and patient po. And then yung mga critical timeline, dapat po this coming November, yung roadmap natin this week should be completed and approved by the President. So we are planning to present it on Thursday. And then yung National Task Force COVID Vaccination fully organized. And then yung vaccine panel of experts also organized. Kasi sasamahan po natin dito yung taga-UP, NIH, at saka yung ibang mga professionals from the different private sector. And then also yung vaccine to be analyzed, selected, and procured is already approved. And then yung clinical trials started. And then also the bilateral, multilateral engagements are completed. Kasi meron po sinabi si Presidente na aside from the COVAX, kailangan po magkaroon po tayo ng mga G2G o bilateral arrangement with the other government. And then sinasabi rin po ni Secretary of Finance Dominguez na we can explore also yung multilateral at saka yung involvement ng ating private sector. So ditong November and December, kailangan yung stage 1 and 2 are completed. And then January by March, baka doon tayo mag-start or maybe earlier ang procurement process. And also the different stages, including the implementation plan should be completed. So ito po ang aming initial na organizational roadmap wherein it is activity-based. Meaning from stage 1 to stage 7, ang organization po natin ay nagbabago. At ang ating tinatawag nating concentration ay kung saang stages tayo ngayon, doon ang concentration ng ating mga tinatawag nating vaccine expert panel. And then also, this will be led by the DOH, DOST, and also the role of the FDA and the UP-NIH is very, very critical. So makikita po natin dito yung sa latter part, sa distribution and deployment, ang LGU po natin parang sa election, sila po ang mobilize po natin dahil kasi sila po ang mag-execute together with our responsible office sa DOH at saka sa DOST. Ilang po, Sir Spokes, at go back to you. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Gaves, ang ating tinalagang vaccine czar. It's a very well-deserved appointment, sir. Kasama rin po natin ang Undersecretary ng Department of Energy, Yusek Felix William Fuentabella. Sir, mabuti naman po na kayo'y Bicolano rin. Kamusta na po ang pagbabalik ng elektrisidad dyan sa Bicolandia? Kasama na po ang Catanduanes. Yusek Fuentabella, the floor is yours.
Maraming salamat, Spokes Harry, sa ating pong mga kababayan. The Department of Energy and the Energy Family, kasama ang National Electrification Administration, NAPOCOR, NGCP, Transco, at yung mga pribadong sektor, no, yung mga electric cooperatives. We are proud to report, no, that Region 8, composed of 13 teams with 22 vehicles, are traveling, no, tonight. They are going to Albay Electric Cooperative. Meron po tayong tinatawag na task force kapatid na inorganize ng National Electrification Administration. At kanina po, nag-briefing na sila. So that's Region 8 going to Albay. The reason for Region 8 going to Albay is hindi pa masyadong maganda yung biyahe from the north, no, Camarines Sur to Albay. So we are striking and sending a team from the south, Visayas, going to Albay, no, to the north. At doon dadaan yung team natin. Kailangan lang ng konting abiso siguro. We need advice and also assistance from the PNP pag landing nila sa Matnog. They are traveling tonight. Secondly, Region 1, composed of 10 teams with vehicles also, are traveling towards Casoreco 2, that's in Naga City. They are targeting to mobilize by Thursday or Wednesday. Ongoing po ang briefing sa kanila. Region 3 naman, electric cooperatives, composed of around 10 teams with vehicles also, are going to Casoreco 4, that's also in Camarines Sur. Region 2 is traveling to Marinduque. Right now, they are coordinating with the PhilReca representatives, that's the Association of Electric Cooperatives, going to the island of Marinduque. Region 6 is traveling to Mindoro. They are composed of teams also na nagbabiyahe na po sila today, magbabiyahe na sila today. The SOPs are these electric cooperatives teams from the different regions will have different vehicles, no? Kanya-kanyang vehicle. So hindi sila magpapasalo sa pupuntahang electric cooperative. And meron silang sariling lutuan, no? So that's what's happening. Now, let's concentrate on Catanduanes. We may need the assistance of our other government partners, the LGU Catanduanes and the Office of Civil Defense, because it appears that we are having a difficulty in contacting our counterparts in Catanduanes. So the general manager of First Catanduanes Electric Cooperative and the officers and the other technical persons, we may need to have a more detailed discussion on what happened, because we have an estimate of the damage in Catanduanes based on our conversation with Governor Buboy Cuwa of the provincial LGU of Catanduanes. Kung 80 to 90% no ang damage sa ating electric cooperatives, that would be tantamount to around 254 million. But we need to coordinate as regards the details on nakapreposition na mga gamit and ano yung mga kailangang i-augment so that when we dispatch the team going to Catanduanes, mas organized tayo. So that spokes, we need to have a more detailed discussion, and we'll discuss it with OCD and the Provincial LGU of Catanduanes. Now, the good thing also is we have coordination with the MMDA already for the teams that will pass through NCR going to the Southern Luzon area. We have 3 great stories na strategies na kinokompleto natin by today, no? Number 1, Meralco by 12 noon is trying to complete yung 100% restoration dito sa kanilang franchise area. So, for Meralco, they already reported as of 6 a.m. today that only 0.02% ang natitirang for energization, and mostly nandito yan sa Southern Luzon, no? That's Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, Rizal areas. And to be detailed about it, ang iko-connecta na lang ng Meralco as of 6 a.m. that they're trying to finish by 12 noon today, no? Laguna 839 customers, Quezon 495 customers, Cavite 437 customers, and Batangas 67 customers. A total of 1,838 customers, or 0.027%, no? And the second story that the second point that we are developing is if we can energize already a portion of Naga City by today. Why is that possible? We are developing this strategy because the transmission line from Tayabas, Quezon to Naga City, line 2, no? One of the lines there of 250 kilovolts is already energized, and to connect that further, no? Naga City to Concepcion 69 kV line is also energized. So it's up to Casureco 2 if they can already, in Naga City, if they can already connect to the transmission lines para ma-energize natin yung Naga City hopefully by today. But we are not rushing things because we want to emphasize again the safety of our personnel. But nonetheless, that's already the developing strategy in energizing a portion of Naga City hopefully by today. The third one is the strategy on how we can utilize the power plant in Bacon, Manito, geothermal, to energize a portion of Southern Albay and Sorsogon. So that is what we are working on because we have a power plant in Bicol that can probably power or energize a portion of Southern Albay and Sorsogon, no? Bacon, Manito, Bacon is Sorsogon and Manito is Albay, no? That's nasa boundary yung planta. And that is what our technical people from Aleco, from Soreco 1 and 2, Sorsogon Electric Cooperative 1 and 2, Albay Electric Cooperative, APEC, and NGCP, that's what they are working on. As far as the fuel for Catanduanes is concerned, we have spoken to Provincial LGU Governor Kua, and there were also reports from media that there are portions in Catanduanes that do not have fuel. So what we are doing right now is we are coordinating because it may be an issue on access. Baka hindi makatawid yung mga delivery trucks from certain areas of Catanduanes, from the depot to the retail stations, or damage to retail stations. That is the second point that we want to clarify, no, with the Provincial LGU of Catanduanes once we have a meeting, if we can be included in the Department of Energy, no, to talk to them again. So these are the matters that we are working on with the energy family. As far as price freeze is concerned, no, it's covered. The price freeze covers a 15-day price freeze. Hindi pwede magtaas pero pwedeng babaan yung presyo for kerosene and household LPG only. So yun po yung ini-implement natin good for 15 days from the declaration of a state of calamity ng authorized body, no? Either Sanggunian, Governor, etc. So from the declaration, 15 days, kerosene and LPG, household LPG, hindi po pwedeng magtaas ng presyo. So pwedeng bumaba. So that's it, Spokesperson.
Sama rin po natin ang administrator ng LUWA, Lua Administrator Jesse Lapus. Sir, inatasan po kayo ng Presidente kagabi na gawin ang lahat para mabalik ang tubig, lalong-lalo na sa Catanduanes dahil isla po yung Catanduanes. No? Ano na pong hakbang nagawa natin para matulungan po ang Catanduanes at iba pang lugar na nasalanta ng Bagyong Rolly? Administrator Lapus, the floor is yours. Wala po kayong audio, nakamute po kayo. Administrator Lapus, nakamute po kayo.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Ako po.
Good afternoon, Spokes. Yung initial assessment po namin, ginawa po namin tungkol sa Bicol at saka yung mga karatig probinsya na apektado ng bagyo. No po. Naglandfall to sa Lubo, Batangas, nandito po sa Bicol at saka Catanduanes. Yung Catanduanes po hanggang ngayon hindi namin ma-communicate sa mga tao kung ano talaga yung mga damages nila. Yung kanilang mga report pakonti-konti, pero yung assessment nila is something like about 60 million para ma-rehabilitate. Actually po, yung mga nasisira sa kanila ay yung kanilang mga pumping stations, yung kanilang transmission lines na kailangan i-check muna para ma-rehabilitate. Unlike po sa kuryente, nakikita natin above ground. Ito po it's about 1 meter below ground. So, kailangan ng masusing pag-aaral, mag-hydraulic test, malaman natin kung saan po yung sira. Ang iba pong mga nakikita natin na yung albay ay pangalawa. Although ang albay po pwedeng accessible, ang Catanduanes po talaga ay medyo mahirap. Naggawa po kami ng team na pupunta sa Catanduanes as soon as time would permit para ma-reassess namin yung kanilang binigay na cost of rehabilitation para may bigay namin sa DBM, kay Secretary Mark Villar at saka sa NDRRMC. Yung mga tao po natin ay continuously coordinating with the various water districts na approximately 80 ang apektado from minimal to the worst, which is Catanduanes. Although ang second worst po ay yung Tabaco City na 50% ng service area nila ay wala. So intermittent po, yan din kasama sa Bakakay lahat. Yung po kasing mga transmission lines, pag nasira yan, sayang lang po yung tubig. At saka we work with electricity. So kung si Yusek hindi magbigay ng kuryente, hindi po under yung mga pumps natin. Yung iba po walang mga generators, so nagre-request sila prospectively na magkaroon sila sana ng mga generators. Mr. Secretary.
Maraming salamat, Administrator Lapus. Ano ba hong mga hakbang na pwede natin gawin? Dahil kung wala pong kuryente, pwede naman mabuhay ang mga taga-Catanduanes. Pero kung wala pong tubig, mahirap po yan. No? Meron ba ho tayong mga emergency na steps na po pwedeng gawin para maibsan po yung kakulangan ng tubig sa Catanduanes?
Ang ano lang po ngayon, kailangan na yung pong ating mga deep wells, kasi po puro deep wells po yan sa Catanduanes. Ang surface water po natin natutuyuan. Ang deep well naman po natin, may problema tayo sa water quality. May kulay po at saka may konting amoy. So yung mga deep wells po natin, may mga chlorination po yan na pwedeng gamitin. So kailangan lang po siguro kailangan pakuluan yung ating tubig kung manggagaling po yan sa ating mga faucet. Hindi po yan pwede inumin. May mga mineral water naman tayo pa pwedeng inumin, pero hindi po natin nire-recommenda yung manggagaling ngayon sa faucet na inumin.
Okay. Administrator Lapus and Yusek Quintebella, si Director Ting of my office po will arrange a VSAT communication with Governor Kuwa, siguro po mamayang hapon para makatulong sa assessment ninyo. No? We will of course tap the VSAT of OCD and we will try to link up the provincial governor with LUA and the Department of Energy. Okay, maraming salamat po. Meron po rin tayong mga statements na natanggap galing po sa SMART. Ang sabi po ng SMART, papunta po ang tao nila doon. Sa Catanduanes, meron po silang chopper na dadali ng kanilang mga engineers at meron po silang dala-dalang mga satellite phones and equipment. Magkakaroon daw po sila ng libreng tawag, libreng charging para sa lahat matapos sila makarating ng VRAP. No? Inaayos daw po nila ang third microwave link nila, which when made operable can bring Catanduanes back on. Unfortunately, yung 2 links nila were severely damaged by Rolly, no? So it will take time to repair, no? So naghahanap pa sila ng mga opsyon para makonect yung buong cell site sa kanilang network to make it go online. Pagdating naman po sa Globe, well, ang sabi po nila is, quote, our initial assessment in Catanduanes unfortunately indicated that the antenna system connecting Catanduanes to Legazpi has been severely damaged. This is the main hurdle to restore mobile services in the area, as the antenna uplink of Catanduanes towards Legazpi is a major transmission facility. So our sites in Catanduanes were mostly affected due to power failure and multiple fiber cuts. So a restoration team will continue to find solutions. So habang naghahanap po sila ng solusyon, meron naman po silang serbisyo dun sa ibang areas na nasalanta ng bagyo. So in areas where we are, magkakaroon daw po ng Globe Jeepney Wi-Fi with libreng tawag, libreng charging, and libreng Wi-Fi, no, to be deployed today. Meron na daw po sila sa Baaw, Camarines Sur, at bukas daw po magde-deploy sila sa Santa Cruz and Poblacion, Marinduque. At mamimigay din daw po sila ng disaster relief goods sa pamamagitan ng kanilang relief teams sa mga hardest hit areas gaya ng Tiwi, Malinaw, Albay, Sagnay, Calabanga, and Laganoy sa Camarines Sur. Magpa-partner daw po sila with Rise Against Hunger and Ayala Foundation. So ibig sabihin, wala pa pong Globe service sa Catanduanes at inaasahan naman sa Smart na pag nakarating yung kanilang microwave, baka bumalik po ang komunikasyon sa Smart sa Catanduanes. Pumunta na po tayo sa ating open forum. Yusek Roque?
Yes, good afternoon, Secretary Roque. Ang first question from Tuesday New of DZBB, kung may update na daw po sa executive order on price cap para sa RT-PCR test.
Wala pa po. Pasensya na po. Talagang nakatutok po ang Presidente at ang buong pamahalaan dito sa bagyong dumaan.
Opo. Second question mula po kay Daryl Esguera na Inquirer.net. Now that we are approaching the end of the year, any update po if tuloy pa rin ang initial plan to resume face-to-face classes in January 2021? If yes, how is the government preparing for this?
Well, tuloy naman po paghahanda dyan, bagamat ang decision po ay talaga magiging decision pa rin ni Presidente. No? Ang sinabi po ng DOH ng mga nakalipas na araw, our aim is lahat po ng area sa buong Pilipinas maging MGCQ by the first quarter of next year. So titignan po natin kung anong magiging developments at ang DepEd naman po patuloy ang paghahanda. Pero tignan po natin kung anong actual kondisyon pagdating po ng prevalence ng coronavirus sa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas.
Opo, yung kanyang second question, pareho po ng tanong ni Tuesday News. Salamat, Secretary.
Salamat. Punta tayo kay Joyce Balancio, DZBB.
Sir, DZMM, ABS-CBN.
Ay, mali na naman yung ano nyo. Sorry ha. Sorry. Sige na nga. Joyce, okay, sorry ha. Joyce Balancio, our fault.
Okay lang po, Secretary Roque. Doon lang po sa pagkakapila ni Pangulong Duterte kay General Galvez as the vaccine czar, some are asking why did the President choose a former general and not a medical expert to deal with the COVID-19 vaccine purchase?
Simple lang po yan because the vaccine operation will entail logistics. No? Kinakailangan po talaga may managerial skills at sanay sa ganitong management processes. No? Hindi po kasi mamamanufacture as of now ang bakuna sa Pilipinas. So kinakailangan angkatin yan sa lugar kung saan ginagawa. Dalhin dito via cold storage facilities by air. Pagkatapos dito po, i-store din yan sa cold storage bago i-distribute sa iba't ibang lugar na ginagamit din ang refrigerated van. So it's more of a logistics challenge than a medical challenge. Ang issue lang po, kung yung medical issue involved dito, kung safe po yung vaccine. At yan naman po ay tututukan ng FDA dahil bagamat meron pong registration ng mga bakuna na makukuha sa kanilang home countries, kinakailangan pag-aralan pa rin po dito yan sa Pilipinas ng ating FDA.
Ano po yung magiging dynamic, Secretary, na magiging trabaho ni Secretary Galvez knowing na meron na rin pong initial progress coming from DOST and DOH when it comes to COVID-19 procurement?
Sa mulat-mula naman po, ang ating Secretary Galvez ang Chief Implementer ng National Task Force. So, syempre po, malapit po ang kanyang coordination sa Department of Health at sa iba't iba pang ahensya na kinakailangan natin para mapakalat yung vaccine pag narariyan na po.
Or can I go to Secretary Galvez himself?
Yes, please.
Apo. Secretary Galvez, good afternoon. So paano po, kaya pa rin po ba natin itong dagdag na assignment coming from the President? You mentioned earlier, kinakabahan po kayo sa malaking responsibility and you have a lot on your plate already because you are the COVID-19 policy implementer of the Philippines and you also oversee some projects and programs of the government.
Doon po sa sinasabi po natin sa phase 3, ang pinaka-major activity po natin po doon, yung tinatawag nating home stretch ng availability of vaccine. So kami po ang gumagawa din ng plano po na yon. Kaya nga po yung pagplano ng roadmap, including yung our core group, ay nakagawa po ng initial paper. At ang ano po natin dito, kaya po sinasabi nga ni Spokes, kung titignan natin ang directive ni Presidente, yung procurement, yung production, shipment, storage, distribution, and deployment. Yung experience po namin kasi dito as a system engineer, at saka po yung ating relationship with the armed forces at saka yung ating PNP na nakita natin ito magkakaroon ng mga storage at saka distribution facilities. Nakita natin mas maganda po ang ating pong pamamalakad. Pangalawa po, ang maganda po dito, yung magkakaroon tayo ng distribution of effort. Yung tinatawag natin scientific evaluation and selection, talaga po yan, gagawin po yan ng mga tinatawag na vaccine expert panel at saka ng DOH. At saka kung titingnan po natin, all throughout these stages, ang pinaka-primary response agency pa rin po natin ang DOH. At ating pong alalahanin na as a chief implementer, ang boss ko pa rin po ay si DOH Secretary. Considering sa DOH Secretary is the IATF chairman at kung ano ang policy niya pertaining sa vaccine will be implemented by me. So yung po ang ano po natin, collegial ang puno po natin dito. We have to remember na collegial ang natin dito. Ang aking pong trabaho bilang designated vaccine char, ito po itatawag na milestone gatekeeper or integrator or synchronizer ng lahat ng mga agencies. So it is better na isang tao ang mag-synchronize kasi po kung ang taga-DOH o taga-DOST ang magagawa po nito ay mas magkakaroon po ng tinatawag na madidilute po yung kanilang mga activity na napaka-importante po yung scientific evaluation and selection at saka po yung tinatawag nating implementation ng nationwide vaccination. So doon po ang focus talaga ng DOH sa mismong implementation kasi napakahirap po ng implementation ng nationwide vaccinations para at least magkaroon sila ng early planning para po magkaroon po natapos na yung logistic part, sila na mag-execution part. So ganun po ang gagawin natin, parang ang gagawin natin, ang sinasabi nga ni Presidente, is yung ang burden natin ng DOH sa mga trabahong administrative. Kami na po ang gagawa nun sa NTF.
Thank you, Secretary Galvez. Secretary Roque, just one more. Nakarating na po sa Manila si Philippine Ambassador to Brazil, Marichu Mauro. Now, as a presidential appointee, may balak po ba si Pangulong Duterte na ipatawag siya sa Malacañang and talk to her personally regarding the issue?
Wala po kong alam na ganyang plano. Hinahayaan po ng Presidente sa DFA ang investigasyon at naniniwala naman po kami magkakaroon ng patas at transparent na investigasyon ng DFA.
Thank you, Secretary
Thank you,
Roque.
Joyce.
Secretary
Punta na tayo kay Yusek Roque uli.
Yes, Secretary, from Jam Punsalan ng ABS-CBN, some social media users have commented on President Duterte's temporary removal of his face mask during yesterday's visit in Ginubatan, where residents were photographed standing close together to see him. Can the palace please explain this?
Ay, hindi ko po alam kung yan ay intentional o talagang natanggal lang, no? Pero ang importante po, nakarating po doon sa Ginubatan, isa sa talaga namang sinalanta ng bagyong Rolling ating presidente. At kung natanggal man yung mask niya, syempre po, yung danger nyon ay naki-presidente pero hindi po niya natiis ang mga Bicolano. Pinuntahan po niya at syempre, he exposed himself to the threat of COVID-19 pero gayon pa man, siya po'y presidente at nais niyang ipakita that government is there to assist them.
Second question po niya, some comments during the President's visit speculated about his health. How is the President's health?
He is as good as anyone of his age, no? Nakita niyo naman 'yan. Siguro naman hindi siya makakapunta sa Ginubatan kung hindi mabuti po ang kalusugan ng ating presidente.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you po. Melo Acuña, please. Melo? Okay. Kung habang wala si Melo, si Trisha Terada, please, CNN Philippines.
Hi, good afternoon, Secretary. Sir, first question for you po, then I'll go to Secretary Galvez. Sir, doon po sa nabanggit ng Pangulo, no, because recently NBI recommended charges for Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act against Customs Commissioner Guerrero. What did the President say about this recommendation by the NBI? And despite this, sir, what prompted the President to kumbaga clear Commissioner Guerrero also after calling him out weeks ago?
Wala pong nabanggit ng Presidente tungkol sa rekomendasyon ng NBI. No? At wala naman pong clearing na ginawa ang Presidente. No? Ang Presidente po ay abogado. He respects the rules of evidence. Kung mayroon pong kaso, sasampahan po ng kaso. At kung sapat naman ang ebidensya, beyond reasonable doubt, makukonvict po sila at makukulong.
Thank you, Spokesperson. May I go to Secretary Galvez?
Yes, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Secretary Galvez.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
the President is banking on his trust in you largely because of your military background. But some critics, yun nga po, nabanggit din kanina ni Joyce that the vaccine czar should have medical experience. Sir, una yung response niyo dito. And at the same time, sir, paano niyo po magagamit yung military background niyo as a vaccine czar vis-a-vis the President's order to have soldiers and cops carry out the vaccination?
Yung pong isang malaking training po sa amin sa military is yung integrator at saka yung being a catalyst ng pwede naming i-integrate ang mga efforts ng agency at saka yung tinatawag na marami sa amin mga military, mga logistics talaga ang namin. Very po kami sa logistics at the same time we can yung deployment saka redeployment of forces at saka resources. Yung pagiging military chief ko mas madali po 'yon ng coordination sa PNP at saka sa AAP. Nasabi na po ni Presidente na gagamitin po natin yung ibang mga kampo at saka yung ibang mga warehouses ng armed forces for the storage at saka yung distribution ng ating mga vaccine. Kung titingnan niyo po yung paggawa ng vaccine, ang modelo po niyan is yung sa election. Kung titingnan po natin kung magkakaroon po tayo ng election, lahat ng preparation po yan, mga almost 6 months of preparation, lahat pati mobilization ng different resources. At the same time, ginagamit po natin yung ibang mga avenues at saka modalities ng military at saka yung tinatawag na coordination centers para ma-mobilize una yung ating mga health workers, ma-mobilize ang ating mga people's organization at saka po ma-mobilize kasama po ang mga teachers at saka yung mga ibang agencies na pwede po tumulong po dito, tumutok at tumulong po dito. So yun po, ang nakita rin po natin, ang military, meron siyang logistics ng air, naval at saka meron po siyang land. Same so with the PNP and also with the uniform service ng Coast Guard. So yun po, yung pagiging serviceman ko po ay malaki pong tulong yun kasi kaya-kaya po nating integrate ang lahat ng mga logistical requirements that we have. Ito pong vaccine po nito, napakalaki po ng logistical challenges po dito. Especially po, karoon po tayo na tinatawag na cold chain, tinatawag na storage. At napakahirap po nito. At ito po ang tinagang napakalaking challenge po sa atin dahil kasi napaka-sensitive po ng vaccine. Kasi po, konting lang po, 4 hours po yan, mawawala na po yung kanyang sensitivity at saka yung efficacy niya po.
Sir, speaking of cold chain, meron na raw po bang update in terms of the talks of the government with private companies na willing po mag-set up ng cold storage facility and fill and finish facility for vaccines?
Alam po natin, may mga facility po tayo na ginagamit natin sa mga vaccine. Basically, yung Swilig at yung Unilab and other pharmaceuticals, sila po ang sumusuporta sa DOH sa distribute ng ating mga tinatawag na cold chain refrigerated vaccine. May mga experience na po sila din dito at saka nakipag-usap na po kami na parang agreement and consortium with the private sector so that those companies with cold chain capability, yun po ang gagamitin po natin.
Okay. Sir, finally, alam ko you touched on this earlier, pero sino po exactly, sir, yung bubuo ng mga team ninyo? Are you eyeing an independent team apart from your own na kumbaga team of advisors? You have vaccinologists, virologists, or maybe experts in the entrepreneurs, etc.?
Meron na po tayong special task group on vaccine na development headed by the DOST and DOH. Ang tawag po sa kanila, Vaccine Expert Panel. Existing na po yan. And then also, we are trying to ask the help of UPPGH, NIH. Kasi sa mga trials po natin, ang UPPGH po ang silang magano po sa 14 sites trials po natin. And with that, we already talked to Dr. Gap Legaspi and also Dr. Lulu Bravo, yung ating expert sa vaccine, kung ano po ang magandang gawin po nating strategy. So yung ito pong mga sila Dr. sa Ed Salvania at ang iba pang mga expert ay nakausapan na po natin para, at saka sila Dr. Montoya ng DOST, ay kinakausap po natin pati sila Eric ng FDA, sila Sir Eric Domingo, ay naka-organize na po yan. Ang tawag po natin dito is Special Task Group on Vaccine Development at saka Special Task Group on Procurement, Vaccine Procurement. So mayroon ng existing po yan at i-enhance lang po natin.
Thank you, Secretary Galvez. Thank you, Spokesperson.
Thank you, Trish. Siguro emphasize ko lang, no? Ang papel po ng dalubhasa at doktor, siguraduhin na ligtas at epektibo yung bakuna. Pero para makarating ang bakuna kung saan man siya manggagaling, papunta sa mga liblib na lugar ng Pilipinas, yan po ay logistics. Yusek Roque.
Okay, Secretary, from Virgil Lopez of GMA News Online, how much of funds can we tap for response and relief efforts after the onslaught of Typhoon Rolly?
Gaya ng sinabi po ni Secretary Avisado kahapon, meron po tayong 3.622 billion available na pondo sa NDRRMC at yung mga lokal na pamahalaan, bagamat hindi po pwede na directly ma-replenish ng national government yung kanilang naubos na calamity funds, po pwede silang humingi ng augmentation dun sa mga national agencies na meron pong quick response funds gaya po ng OCD, DSWD, DOH at Department of Agriculture.
Second question po, can LGU of typhoon-hit areas request the DBM for augmentation of their disaster and calamity funds which may have been depleted due to COVID-19 response and relief efforts?
Kakasagot ko lang po, hindi po directly manggagaling sa DBM ang replenishment. Humingi po tayo ng replenishment dun sa mga line agencies na mayroong quick response fund. Ulitin ko po, ito po ang mga ahensya na may quick response funds, ang OCD, DSWD, DOH at Department of Agriculture. At meron din po ang DPWH, ang DepEd, ang NEA. Okay? So, hindi lang po pala apat. Meron din ang DPWH, DepEd at NEA. NEA meaning National Electrification Authority.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Ready na ata si Melo Acuña. Melo?
Magandang hapon, Secretary Harry. Nice to see you again. Naghihintay ang mga taga-Albay kung kailan po lalabas yung direktiba mula sa DENR para itigil ang quarry. Napanood po nila yung kautusan at mensahe ni Secretary Roy Simato. Naghihintay po sila ng papel. May idea po kaya tayo kung kailan lalabas yung memorandum?
Siguro ko naman yung local DNR doon. Napanood naman ang naging talumpati ni Presidente at ni Secretary Simato. Siguro naman, miski walang papel, they can take initial action already na sa pagpapatigil ng mga quarrying operations na yun muna. Panandalian.
Apo. Maitanong ko na rin po, meron na po bang mga foreign governments na nag-alok ng tulong? At kung meron man nag-alok ng tulong para sa bagyo, tatanggapin po ba ito ng Pilipinas?
Well, siyempre po, no? Ang alam ko po, nagsalita na po ang UN system at ang EU, natutulong daw sila. At handa naman po tayong tumanggap, no? Dahil talaga naman pong nangangailangan tayo ng tulong, no, sa mga panahon nito.
Ngayon pong buwang ito, idaraos ang APEC, ang Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, kahit virtually. Ano po ang magiging posisyon ng Pilipinas sa pagpupulong na ito?
Well, siguro po, bagamat economic matters ang pag-uusapan, talagang nakatutok pa rin po sa COVID yan, no? At kung paano makabangon sa COVID ang buong daigdig. Kaya importante po itong pagpupulong ng APEC.
Maraming salamat po, Secretary. Have a nice day.
Thank you po, Melo. Back to you, Sec. Roque, please.
Okay, ang tanong po ni Rosalie Cos, nasagot nyo na, Secretary, about kay Philippine Ambassador to Brazil, Marichu Mauro. Ang sunod po tanong mula kay MJ Blanca Flor of Daily Tribune. Napag-usapan na po ba ang SALE ng Pangulo? Did he agree to disclose it?
Ako, nakatutok po tayo ngayon sa bagyo. Hindi po namin napag-usapan yung kagabi. Nakita nyo naman po, binroadcast live po yung pagpupulong kapon.
On red tagging po, Amnesty International urged the Philippine government to end the practice of red tagging and to publicly instruct government officials to refrain from harassing and intimidating human rights defenders. How will the palace respond to that?
Ang pulisiya po ay nabanggit na ni Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, kung wala ebidensya, manahimik.
Amnesty International also said that the phenomenon of red tagging has intensified under the last few years under the administration of President Duterte following the breakdown of peace talks between the government and the CPP in 2017. Last April, the President ruled out the possibility of resuming peace talks with CPP-NDF. Ito na rin po ba ang stand ng Pangulo? Ito pa rin po ba?
Lilinawin ko, no? Bagamat ang sinabi ni Secretary Lorenzana na pulisiya natin talaga ay kung walang ebidensya, wag dapat manahimik at wag mag-red tagging, hindi naman po ibig sabihin yun na wala talagang mga organisasyon na talagang kasapi at kabahagi ng CPP-NPA. Ang CPP-NPA po, talagang meron silang revolutionary armed struggle, yan po yung NPA, at meron silang political. Kasama sa political ay yung mga tinatawag nilang mga organisasyon na di umano'y legal, no? Dahil hindi naman sila humahawak ng barel. Pero kabahagi pa rin po ng CPP-NPA. At hindi po madidinayan. Kaplastikan po ng CPP-NPA kung sasabihin nila wala silang mga legal fronts na tinatawag. Pero ang sinasabi lang ni Secretary Lorenzana, yung mga wala naman talagang kinalaman dyan, na wala namang ebidensya, kasama ng ilang mga personalidad, kung wala talagang ebidensya, tumahimik na lang. In any case, iniimbestigahan po ngayon yan ng Senado.
Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, thank you, Yusek. Maricel Halili, please.
Hi sir, magandang hapon po. Sir, tungkol lang po doon sa Red Cross. Kasi nabanggit po ng Philippine National Red Cross na aside doon sa natitirang utang ng PhilHealth, meron daw pong additional na 16 billion since nag-operation na po sila uli for swab testing. So, ano po yung ginagawang hakbang ng government just to ensure that the debt of PhilHealth will not balloon again?
Unang-una, may pondo po ang PhilHealth para dyan. Pangalawa, nangako ang Presidente, magbabayad ang Republika ng Pilipinas. Meron lang po talaga mga proseso na pinagdadaanan bago magbayad. Kasama na po dyan yung tinatawag na reconciliation at verification. Yun lang po yun. Matapos po ang verification at reconciliation, magbabayad naman po ang gobyerno, sapat-sapat po ang pondo natin para dyan. Guaranteed by the President, no less.
Sir, do we have a timeline as to when can PhilHealth pay all the debts to the Philippine Red Cross?
Mahirap kasi magbigay ng timeline sa gobyerno, no? Lalo na sa panahon ng ganito na nasasalanta tayo ng mga bagyo gaya ni Rolly, no? Needless to say, I will say it again, the President has said we will pay. So wala dapat alinlangan ang ating mga kapartners sa Philippine Red Cross na mababayaran sila.
Sir, on the creation of the Department of Disaster Resilience, meron po kasing ilang mga senador yung nagpahiwatig na hindi sila in favor doon sa pag-creation ng department because they feel na nadodoble-doble since we already have OCD and NDRRMC. And sabi nga po ni Senator Drilon, it's just a knee-jerk reaction. So, ano po ang tingin ninyo dito? Gaano po ba kahalaga yung creation ng department?
Hindi naman po bago yung proposal to create this department. Dahil 17th Congress po, I had one version of the bill. No? So ibig sabihin po, talagang maraming mambabatas ang nag-agree na kinakailangan po yung departamentong yan. Kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, this was also identified as an administration bill, no, ng ating Presidente Duterte. Pero ganun pa man, syempre po, legislation is the area of the Senate and the House, and we welcome any and all discussions dahil in the end naman po sila magsasabatas niyang panukalang batas na yan.
Sir, just one question for Yusek Fuentebella and Admin Lapus.
Yes, please.
Opo. Yusek and Admin, meron na po ba tayong estimate kung kailan natin maibabalik yung kuryente and tubig doon sa mga hard-hit areas, particularly in Catanduanes? Kasi nabanggit nga po na doon sa Catanduanes, nasa 80 to 90% yung affected na electric facility. Ganun din yung sa tubig. So, gaano katagal bago po siya maibalik?
We are working on the details right now. Our people are assessing on the ground. So we are targeting, as I mentioned earlier, Southern Albay and Sorsogon. There's one strategy being developed. And also by today, the portion on Naga City, because there was already a line available from Tayabas, Quezon to Naga, and Naga to substation to an area in Concepcion. So as for the details regarding the other areas like Albay Electric Cooperative, Casureco 3, Camarines Electric Cooperative 3, Casureco 4, and Casureco 1, and the first Catanduanes Electric Cooperative, we are working on the details. But despite that, we are already assigning and briefing our task force kapatid participants. These are linemen, volunteers, who will travel from regions 1, 2, and 3 to the affected areas, including Region 8 and Region 6. So that's what we are doing right now. So sabay-sabay siya. We have pre-positioned materials, both equipment and facilities also. But as for the details on timelines, we need more data to cover that. And the briefings are ongoing this morning and later. And we also need to, that's why I sought assistance from Spokesperson to contact also our people in Manila.
Administrator?
Yes, yes po. To date, 14,000 households out of the 40,000 in Catanduanes have access to water prior to the typhoon. Ngayon po, lahat ng mga water districts, 6 po yan, hindi po namin makontak. We have no communication, so we do not know the extent of the damages. Unlike electricity po, ito is underground. So it has to have more testing and it will entail more time to repair or rehab an existing transmission line. However, yung mga walang diferensya po, as soon as electricity is there, they could immediately serve those that are damaged.
Thank you, sirs. Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, kung nakikinig po o kung somehow makakarating kay Governor Kua, nalaman ko na po yung panawagan ninyo na kinakailangan nyo ng tupad para po malinis ang mga nasirang mga daan nang sa ganon makarating yung mga relief goods na nanggagaling po sa Maynila sa mga nangangailangan. No? So kinokontak na po natin ngayon si Kalihim Bello para sa request nyong additional emergency tupad para sa Catanduanes, and we hope to have him on the line. Yes, Yusek Roque, please.
A question from Daryl Esguera of Inquirer. Para po daw kay Secretary Galvez, how is the government addressing yung pong pagtaas ng COVID-19 cases sa Benguet, particularly in the mining town of Itogon?
Yun po ay nabigyan na po ng atensyon ng ating mga governor at saka LGU. Sa ngayon po ang ginagawa po nila, ina-isolate na po nila yung site at nilockdown nila yung mining site. At the same time, nagkaroon din po sila ng tinatawag nating syndromic surveillance para mahanap po yung mga affected na mga areas. Sa ngayon po, tinutulungan din po ng ating mahal na Mayor Magalong ang area ng Benguet at ang Region 2 at saka Region 1 po ay kanya po rin po may tinutulungan. Sa ngayon po, nakita po natin na medyo unti-unti po na nag-normalize at nakita natin yung spike dito ay dun sa dalawang mining sites dito sa Itogon at dito sa area ng Benguet.
Secretary, may tanong po si Eileen Taliping ng Abante. Marami po daw ang nagtatanong yung mga public utility van and FX, papayagan pa kaya sila magbiyahe ng IATF?
Ang alam ko po, mas maraming utility van na pinayagan ngayon, pero Secretary Galvez, would you care to answer the question?
Alam ko po, meron na pong more than 2,000 na po na additional UAV sa Express na pinatupad ang ating DOTR na ibukas at saka may mga linya na ibinukas din po para sa ating mga jeepneys. Ngayon po talagang puspusan ang ginagawa ng ating DOTR. Nakausap po natin si Yusek Ochi Tuason na talagang pong gusto nilang ma-open po yung mga ibang mga sektor ng transportasyon kasi ito po ang isa sa mga balakid na nakita natin sa opening ng ating economy ay ang kulang ng supply ng ating transportasyon. At susunod na rin po, tinatapos lang po namin ang implementing guidelines, ang motorcycle at saka yung tinatawag natin motorcycle taxi ay matatapos na rin
Ano
po
ako
yung
makuha
implementing
tayo?
guidelines.
Thank you, Secretary Galvez.
Yes, next question please. Joseph Morong. Joseph Morong.
Hi, sir. Hello. Yan.
Yes, go ahead. Sabi ko, imposibleng
Oh,
mawala ka.
Trabaho, sir. Sir, ganito. Sa'yo muna, no? Sir, pingi kaming update. I texted si Queenie ng topic kanina, no? Yung sa Karamoan. Somebody that you know, probably si Sir Nilo, no? From DFA. Taga ron siya. And sabi niya, yung Karamoan, which is just adjacent to Catanduanes, ganun din yung situation. They're badly hit. Wala ring kuryente and telecommunications. At saka some of the infrastructures there, yung pantalan nila ay sira din. Can we get an update on what's going on in Karamoan from you or probably from other agencies?
Well, we are lucky to have DOE Yusek Puentebella and LUA Administrator Lapu. Sir, Karamoan daw po. Karamoan is actually the tourist spot of Kamsur, no? Ito po yung mga isla, no, na pinupuntahan ng mga dayuhan. Ano daw po ang update kung meron tayo?
Yeah. Kasoreco 4, Camarines Sur Electric Cooperative 4 is already sending people, no, to Karamoan, not only Karamoan but also Presentacion. There's a difficulty in traveling by land from Lagunoy to Presentacion to Karamoan and to Garchitorena. The Karamoan Peninsula composed of the three towns, Presentacion, Garchitorena, and Karamoan, is beside Catanduanes. No, so if we analyze the path of the typhoon, pumasok yan sa Lagunoy Gulf and nandyan tumama sa boundary ng Sangay at saka ng Tiwi, yung mata ng bagyo. So we anticipate na kung ano yung damage sa Catanduanes is more or less ganun din ang nangyari sa Karamoan. That is why there is a need to send also people from Smart Communications to Karamoan and Presentacion and or the Chitorena so that we are able to establish immediately the communications there with the local government units. But we were informed because I have relatives, and that was my former district, no? When I was in Congress. So we were informed that the local government units are on top of the situation. We were happy to know that, for example, in Sangay, there was a zero casualty. So these are things that we are receiving bit by bit, no? But I think the strategic way is to establish the communication. So if Smart and Globe can send their people already, that would be a big help, no? A big boost to the restoration efforts.
Okay.
Well, as we speak, Yusek, nagmamonitor po ang Smart and Globe kasi ayaw na nila tayong tumawag sa kanilang mga bossing, no? So sila na po ang nag-update sa atin kung anong ginagawa nila. Nagpadala na po by helicopter ng personnel ang Smart sa Catanduanes. They're trying to turn on a microwave that will bring back their connection to Catanduanes. So we're asking yung mga taga-Smart po, tumuloy na rin po kayo sa Karamawan para malaman ko ano po ang sitwasyon doon, kung po pwede lang po. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, sir.
Jesse Administrator Lapus, yes, please.
Go.
Yes, sir. We're still awaiting reports. Konti-konti po yung pumapasok na report sa atin. And tungkol sa Karamoan, wala po akong nakikitang report pa ngayon. Maybe soon, this afternoon, we could have one.
Okay.
Paano ba yung telecon ba yun, mamaya? Okay, yes. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Sir,
yung mga
kahapon,
ahensya po na gustong makontak ang Catanduanes, siguro po the safest way is send your representative to the operation center of the NDRRMC because we have arranged a VSAT connection at 3 p.m. So lahat po ng ahensya ng gobyerno na nais makakuha ng impormasyon sa Catanduanes, 3 p.m. po sa operations room ng NDRRMC. We've arranged for a VSAT link up with Governor Kua and the rest of other officials in Catanduanes.
So going back to you, sir. Sir, kahapon, no, si Presidente addressed yung nasaan ang Pangulo. Can we have an elaboration on what he said? And he didn't like yung ganong question. No? But what is wrong with asking nasaan ang Pangulo in times like this?
Well, unang-una po, importante yung preparasyon na ginawa po ng buong gobyerno ng Republika para dito sa bagyong ito. Our aim is still zero casualty, but nakita naman po natin, bagamat napakalakas itong bagyong ito, ay nagbunga po yung ating disaster preparedness, and the President is very happy to note that everyone did their job, no? To warn people to evacuate, to prepare evacuation centers, to pre-position supplies, to pre-position equipment para ma-repair ang mga kalsada. So yan pong importante na pinaghandaan natin ng mabuti itong bagyong ito. Now, ang siguro nairita si Presidente, ano bang gusto ng mga kritiko niya na lalabas siya sa kalye habang bumabagyo? That's pointless po. Dahil nagawa na po ni Presidente yung dapat gawin, hinanda na po ang lahat ng departamento at ahensya ng gobyerno. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, pero alam nyo naman po, may malis na pagtanong yan dahil yan yung mga kritiko na kahit anong gawin ni Presidente, hindi po walang mabuting nakikita sa ginagawa ni Presidente. Bahala na po sila. Anyway, they comprise 5% of the population. And we will convert them still. Huwag po kayo mag-alala.
Sir, lastly, sa inyo po and probably kay Secretary Galvez, you mentioned that by first quarter of next year, we're aiming to be MGCQ. Does that mean, sir, na for the rest of the year GCQ? And going to Secretary Galvez, what will be the biggest challenge as a vaccine czar? And have we secured commitment from any government na magbibigay sila ng vaccine once the vaccines that they're developing are ready for distribution?
Well, let me answer you first, Joseph. No? Rephrase ko lang naman at inulit ko yung sinabi ni Yusek Vergere. No? Now, we're hoping that all parts of the Philippines will be under MGCQ. Pero hindi naman po ibig sabihin yan na the current classification will remain till December. Kaya nga po, yung release na classification ni Presidente is only good for November. Dahil titignan natin kung po pwedeng ma-MGCQ pa yung iba't ibang lugar na nasa GCQ ngayon. Secretary Galvez?
Yung greatest challenge sa pagiging vaccine czar is yung pong talagang yung sa logistics portion. Sa ngayon, nagkakaroon po tayo ng some sort of diplomatic engagement with different countries. Sa ngayon po, nakita po ang direktiba po ng ating mahal na Presidente ay magkaroon po tayo ng bilateral engagement with China and also with Russia. And now, this coming few days, baka magkaroon po tayo ng some diplomatic engagement with UK and also Singapore and also South Korea and Japan. Considering that itong mga area po nito, based dun sa briefing ng World Bank at saka ng Asian Development Bank, ang mga distribution at saka manufacturing center will be in Singapore, also in Japan and also in India. So kailangan magkaroon tayo ng talagang diplomatic arrangement so that we could have some sort of equitable access to the vaccine that may be produced. Sa ngayon, may 10 pong contender na vaccine po tayo. 8 po, nasa COVAX na po yun. And ang gagawin po natin na strategy, we have the COVAX modalities, and then we have the bilateral, and then meron din po tayong tinatawag na multilateral na sinasabi ni SOF na the ASEAN nation can pull in our bet to certain manufacturer. At the same time, we can engage with the private sector so that the upper bracket of the society can be arranged through the availability of the vaccine through the private sector at a decent price. Ganun po.
Sir, last lang. You mentioned dun sa plano nyo, sir, na January to March yung procurement period. Does that mean, sir, that we are confident that we will be able to have a vaccine first quarter of January next year?
Based on sa report ng ating special task group on COVID-19 vaccine development, ang pinaka-earliest ng trial natin is maybe December. At the same time, pwedeng maging available kung just in case maging positive yung ng COVAX. At the same time, yung development ng mga leading vaccine. The earliest is March and May. Yun ang nila na prediction. And we saw that yung AstraZeneca may 1 billion capacity na to produce this coming 2020, end of 2020. So yun ang tinitingnan po natin. Kaya that's why we are having an engagement also with the ambassador of UK so that we can have some sort of a concession or diplomatic arrangement on how we can access these early promising vaccines.
Okay, sir, good luck with your new job, additional job, and thank you for your time, sir. Secretary, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. Let's go to you, Sec Roque, please.
Secretary, question from Jillian Cortez ng Business World for Secretary Galvez po. When are we procuring materials needed for the cold chain storage facilities? Will the government prioritize this sooner since this might be in demand worldwide and prices for cold chain storages will rise?
Marami po tayong arrangement na ginagawa sa mga pharmaceuticals company. Yung pong yung Swilig has the cold chain facility already that had been used by the DOH during their vaccination. Alam po natin na nung nagkaroon po kami ng evaluation and assessment, there are pharmaceutical companies that have a cold chain storage kasi tinitingnan po natin may mga vaccine po na kailangan ng -20 or -80 na refrigeration. At nakikita po natin yung Swilig has the capacity on that. And maybe ang tinitingnan po din natin sa procurement na yung mismong magdidistribute sa atin, they will carry yung cold storage. Isa po yun sa mga negotiation na ginagawa po natin. Dahil kasi po kung magpo-produce po tayo ng cold storage, tayo magpo-produce sa gobyerno, it will take time. So there are existing companies that can provide the services. So ang gagawin lang natin po ay on term of preference on how to access storage.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Galvez. Secretary Roque, last question na po ito from Vance Fernandez ng Police Files. Kinunde na po ni Senator Ontiveros ang pagpapatigil ng free dialysis ng PhilHealth. Bakit ngayong may pandemic nagdesisyon ng PhilHealth samantalang may ata si Pangulong Duterte na libreng dialysis till December? Ano po ang reaksyon ng palasyo?
Hindi ko po alam kung totoo yan na pinatigil ng PhilHealth. Yan po ay provided under the law, Universal Healthcare Law. So, aalamin po natin ang punot dulo niyan.
Thank you, Secretary Roque.
Pia Ranada, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, Pia.
Sir, for you first, can we just get an update if the president has already has a list of possible candidates to be PNP chief because General Cascolan is retiring next week, November 10. How far along is he in the decision-making process for who will replace General Cascolan?
I'm sure he has a short list already, but the final choice is up to the president when he will issue it.
All right. Sir, may I ask a question to Secretary Galvez?
Yes, please. Secretary Galvez?
Yes.
Yeah, Sec Galvez, how will you implement the directive of the president that only soldiers can distribute the COVID-19 vaccine and dapat po hindi daw involved ang barangay captains when I saw in your roadmap that the LGUs will really have to be involved in the distribution. So, sir, paano yung workflow nun? How will you separate the politicization concerns of the president? Barangay captains daw might come in and politicize the vaccines given that your vaccines are.
Nakikita ko yung sinabi ni Presidente, greatly involved ang ating armed forces at saka PNP kasi talaga po sa logistical portion. Meaning yung sa warehousing, distribution at saka yung tinatawag na storage ay may facility po ang ating mga military in terms of yung bulk. Kasi kung bulk natin, if we will be buying by the millions, 20 million, 40 million na vaccine, malaki pong area po ang kailangan nito. And then malaking manpower din po ang kailangan nito. So ang mangyayari po is I believe we will tell to the president yung during the implementation of the vaccination, it is really a whole government approach, whole agency approach wherein the DOH will be the lead, but the support and the distribution will be fully supported by the AFP and the PNP. Meaning ito pong talagang po natin ito, katulad ng ginagawa po na nagkaroon po tayo ng vaccine sa La Union, nandun po ako, talagang we cannot do without with the LGU kasi sila po talaga ang ang unang-una silang gumagawa ng strategic communication to convince all the people to be vaccinated. At the same time, sila po ang gagawa po ng personal information sheet at saka yung logistic information sheet para po maging kompleto po ang mga information po natin. Napakalaking challenge po yun, yung dalawang challenge po na yun, yung strategic communication, at the same time, yung tinatawag nating logistics information system.
So, sir, would you say that the directive of the president, medyo mahirap po siya gawin, like, exactly? Kasi, sinasabi niyo, ano po, yung involvement ng LGU chiefs will be just in communications? Or how about, sir, yung, yun nga po, yung making the lists of the families who will receive the aid, etc. Ano exactly yung involvement nila?
Nakita natin ang LGU po, ang napakalaki ng role po niya dito sa ating pandemic. Kahit ang ating mahal na presidente, ang alam niya talaga na ang LGU are the one leading our people to the front. At ang ating LGU po ang nakakaalam kung sino-sino dapat ang priority. Kasi ang ano po natin sa vaccine, mayroon po tayong prioritization. Unang-una, ang priority po natin talaga ay yung mga health workers, yung mga vulnerable, yung mga poor people, at saka mga indigents. So, ang LGU po, nakakaalam po ng lahat nito, ng information na to. So, yung profiling, at saka yung segmentation ng ating society kung sino ang priority, ay gagawin po yan ng LGU together with the DOH personality. And also, pwede pong tumulong po dito ang ating mga teachers, pwede pong tumulong dito ang ating mga police at saka mga armed forces, katulad ng ginagawa nilang profiling sa mga voters. Ganun po ang gagawin po natin, yung model natin, kung paano po tayo magkaroon ng national election, ganun din po ang gagawin natin, wherein the LGU has an important part in the preparation, the profiling, and also the information system that we will be having.
So, sir, paano po ma-implement yung order ni President? Kasi I think his concern nga was the politicization of these lists, which is similar to elections na yung barangay captains daw parang nagsiselect sila ng kung sino-sino yung makakuha ng aid. So, how will you implement this particular concern, address this concern of the President?
Nakita ko pagka once na nagsama-sama yung armed forces, yung PNP, at saka yung LGU, parang sa Peace and Order Council at saka sa Regional Development Council, ay nakita po natin na walang bias po yun kasi ang natin is ang magiging organization natin sa vaccine na implementation is interagency po ito. And majority ng mga information na kailangan natin at saka sa implementation will be coming from the health sector at saka sa LGU po.
Okay. Last question, sir. Sir, yung procurement process for Zwelig, yung sinasabi niyong cold storage, is this may bidding pa po ba to or is this PVP? What is the procurement model for the cold storage?
Gawin po natin ngayong susunod na araw, bukas, kakusapin po natin yung tinatawag nating business consortium. Kasi po sa business consortium ng pharmaceuticals, meron po silang mga tinatawag na very robust na and very effective logistics supply chain, including the cold chain. So ang natin dito is we will involve the private sector so that they can help the government in really investing yung sa cold chain environment. Kasi nakikita natin dito yung mga pharmaceutical companies, alam po nila ang sensitivity ng mga vaccines, and they were been involved through the DOH program yung sa vaccine distribution and also sa vaccine storage. So ang gagawin po natin is lahat po ng mga pharmaceuticals, including Zwelig, Unilab, and other major pharmaceuticals and stakeholders dito sa ating medical sector, ay kakausapin po natin para at least magkaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na
Oo. On the air kita. Oo, on the air kita. Oo.
So yun po ang po natin, na pag-isahin po natin yung tinatawag natin that there will be a unity of effort with the private sector so that the government will not spend anymore on the production of the cold storage kasi may available naman po sa market. At the same time, ang gagawin po lang natin ito, magkakaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na terms of reference or memorandum of agreement for a certain amount na talagang bibigyan natin services ng supply chain rather than construct many warehouses and storage na it will create a lot of tinatawag nating excess sa ating mga resources.
Okay.
So we will deal on this. Hindi pa naman tayo final sa natin.
Tumutawag siya.
Alright. Salamat po.
Okay, as we speak po, we have connected with Secretary Belio para sa request ni Governor Kua of Catanduanes for Tupad. At ito po siya, Secretary. Oo. We're live po, Sec Belio, no, my BFF. Nakarating po sa amin ng balita na nagre-request si Governor Kua ng Catanduanes ng tupad dahil kinakailangan daw po linisin yung mga kalye ng Catanduanes para makapasok ang relief goods. Ang problema po, walang kuryente, walang anything, so kinakailangan cash pong ipadala. Ano pong mensahe natin kay Governor Kua?
Sabihin mo kay Governor Kua, Secretary, na I will send amount to hire at least 5,000 people to clean the streets and the debris of Typhoon Rolly. Naka-download na yung pera kamo, Secretary.
Okay. Maraming salamat po. So, Governor Kua, if you're able to somehow hear this message, magpapadala po in cash ang DOLE ng enough pondo for 5,000 workers po para ma-clear up ang roads. Maraming salamat, Sec Belio.
Okay, Sec Partner.
Bye-bye po. Okay. So, Governor Kua, mamaya, Director Ting, please tell Governor Kua also that they will physically send cash somehow, siguro sa susunod na C-130, good for 5,000 workers under the TUPAD program. Yes, Yusek Roque?
Opo, question from Maki Pulido of GMA7. Does the government still have enough funds for calamity response? Some LGUs have used up their calamity funds because of their COVID response and are now seeking help of national government. Will government step in and help?
Nasagot ko na po yan. Meron po tayong 3 billion plus pondo sa NDRRMC. Bagamat hindi po diretsong marireplenish ng national government ang calamity fund ng local governments, pwede po silang mag-request ng augmentation sa mga ahensya na merong quick reaction fund gaya ng OCD, DSWD, DOH, DA, DPWH, DepEd, NEA. So, pwede po nilang lapitan yung mga regional offices ng mga ahensyang ito and to request for replenishment of their calamity fund. Okay, wala na po tayo mga katanungan. As usual po, maraming salamat po mga kababayan for joining us in today's presidential press briefing. Nagpapasalamat din po kami doon sa mga taga-radyo ng bayan, PTV4, PIA, ang lahat po ng mga mamamahayag sa Channel 5, sa Channel 7, sa ABS-CBN online, sa lahat po ng mga radio station, CNN, dahil sama-sama po tayong nag-cover ng Bagyong Rolly at dahil po sa lahat ng ating mga ginawa, nakarating naman po yung mga importanteng balita sa ating mga kababayan. So sa ngalan po ng ating Presidente, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, maraming salamat din po sa mga men and women of the Malacañang Press Corps. Salamat po sa ating panahuin, si Secretary Galvez, Yusek Fuentebella, and Administrator Lapus. At maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Pilipinas, let's keep safe. Magandang hapon po.